Hello, my people. Welcome to this video. Today, we're going to dive into something that is going to make you think twice about every election you have ever seen or maybe voted in. The truth is, we all fight for democracy. We stand in long lines under a hot sun just to mark our ballots. And at the end of the day, we hope our leaders are going to build better hospitals. They are going to create more jobs. They are going to fix power outages. And they're going to bring, real change. But what if the very way we count these votes actually has a built-in flaw that no one can fully fix? When you look back, mathematicians proved long ago that when three or more candidates or parties are in a race, there is no voting system that can be perfectly fair and completely logical all at once. And this is not just talks. This is some solid math that actually earned a Nobel Prize. So I want you to stay with me because I'm going to break it down step by step in simple words. And we are going to look at real examples from our own African countries. And so you're going to see why when they had announced the results, some results feel wrong, like cheated, even when the count seems to be honest. And by the end, you're going to maybe be excited and share your thoughts, and maybe even push for changes in how we vote. So I want us to get started. Let's begin with the voting system most of us know too well. It's called fast past the post, or basically the winner takes all. Here the structure is you're going to walk into the polling station, you're going to get the ballot paper, you put a mark next to the candidate or the party, of course, the one you like the best. So at the end of the day, they're going to count the votes, and the one with the most marks next to their name is going to win. And it could even be 40% or less. They don't need half the votes to take the seat or the power. Very basic and straightforward. And this system, it came to many African nations during the British colonial rule. And we know Ghana uses it for the most parliamentary elections. Botswana sticks with it. I think Tanzania has some blends of it. And in Nigeria and Kenya and many other local races, they run this way. Because, it's very quick. It gives a clear winner and no endless debates. But let's imagine a scenario to see the problem with this very closely. I want you to picture a busy election in your country, and let's say there is 4 strong parties that are running. Party A promises better roads and jobs. And let's say when voting happens, they get 38% of all the votes. And Party B, maybe they're focusing on education and health, and they get 32%. Then Party C talking about fighting corruption, and let's say they get 20%. And Party D, they push for land rights, and let's say they get 10%. So here, Party A has the most, so they win the majority of the seats and they form a government. But think about it. There is 62% of voters that chose other parties. So most people did not want Party A in charge, yet Party A ends up making all the laws. So this kind of a thing has happened in African elections time and time again. And it leaves, big groups feeling ignored and angry, especially in our diverse societies with different tribes, regions, and beliefs. There is another scenario that you will relate with too, maybe. Here it's called vote splitting. Basically, imagine an opposition leader in your country who is popular, but 2 similar opposition candidates decide to run separately. So one is a younger firebrand calling for youth jobs, and let's say he gets 25%. And the other is an experienced politician, and they're focusing, let's say, on investments, and she gets 23%. So the ruling party candidate who has been in power too long gets 42% and wins. So if those two opposition candidates had teamed up, or if voters could have chosen both in some way, the opposition might have won. So instead, the votes split and the ruling party stays on top. So, which is why voters they go home saying my vote did nothing. Next election, they pick, let's say, the lesser evil just to block the one they hate most. So small parties start fading away, and power stays stuck with one or two big players. This pattern is so common that experts call it Duverger's law, and in Africa, where we have rich mixes of cultures and ideas, this splitting can actually spark real conflicts, and it can make people lose faith in the whole process. You might wonder, is there a better way? And yes, some African countries already use one. It is called proportional representation. Uh, you vote for a party list. So the seats in the parliament, they match the share of the votes each party gets. So if your party gets 20%, they get about 20% of the seats. Nothing wasted. South Africa, Namibia, Angola, Mozambique, they use it. In fact, it helped South Africa include everyone after the apartheid. So basically, coalition happened, and this means that more groups get a seat at the table. But not everywhere uses, of course, full proportional. Many keep winner takes all for president or single seat just to have a strong leader. Let us explore another smart option. It is called ranked choice voting or instant runoff. So here the way it works is on your ballot you number the candidates, and 1 for your top favorite, 2 for your next best, and 3 and so on. So you rank them that way. And here is how the count goes. So here they're going to add up all the number ones, and if someone has more than 50%, they win right away. And if not, they drop the candidate with the fewest number ones. And those votes, they're going to shift to the number twos on those ballots. So then they recount and they keep going until someone hits over 50%. And this cuts down on splitting. You can rank your ideal smart party candidate first, and if they lose, your vote still counts for your backup. So that's why candidates they campaign nicer. They want your second or third spot. Let's paint a fun scenario. I want to suppose there's 35 candidates running for mayor in a big African city like Lagos or Nigeria. Normally, it would be chaos with a lot of attacks and scenarios everywhere. But with ranked choice, everyone is going to play it cool. They're going to praise each other in debates. They're going to share ideas without fighting. And do you know why they do it this way? It is because they need those second place votes. So the debates usually like these were going to end up with the contestants singing, holding hands, and the voters like to see this. They feel good because it makes them feel like actually politics is possible. But guess what? There is a twist that might shock you with however much good this looks like. Sometimes a candidate wins by performing worse at first. Let's have a scenario time so you get what I'm talking about. Imagine there's 3 candidates. The progressive one who wants fast reforms, like free education for all. And there's the moderate 2 who is seeking balanced changes. And then a conservative one, the third one that, they prefer slow and steady progress. So during the voting, the first round, the progressive gets the 20%, and the moderate maybe gets 30%, and conservative they get 45%. So in this case, no one is over 50. So progressive drops out, and most of their votes ranked moderate second, and moderate jumps up and wins. So now imagine the conservatives makes a huge error, let's say like promising to cut popular programs, and 10% of their voters switch to progressive in protest. Then the new round, the progressive 35%, then that means the moderate is 25% and conservative is 40%. Then the moderate drops out. So their voters split evenly and conservatives ends up winning. And so by messing up early, conservative actually takes the prize. And that seems backwards and unfair. And so it keeps you wondering, how can this be fixed? And this brings us to a key thinker from the 1700s. He's a French guy. I put his picture here. And basically, he said that the best winner is the one who beats every other indirect one-on-one matchups. So voters rank everyone, then check each pair. Basically, so how many rank A over B or A over C? And it feels right. But sometimes it creates a loop with no winner. And to make this real, I will give you an example using a basic African example or a scenario. So imagine there is three friends who are deciding to go and have dinner. Uh, there is jollof rice from West Africa, or get ugari with grilled meat from East Africa, or maybe eat fufu with spicy soup from Central. So then friend one is ranks jollof first, ugari second, and fufu last. Friend two ranks ugari first, fufu second, and jollof last. And friend three ranks fufu first, jollof second, and ugari last. So one on one, jollof beats ugari because two prefer jollof. Ugari beats fufu to prefer it, and fufu beats jollof to prefer it. So it cycles forever. No clear choice. This is Condoret's paradox, because in election, usually it happens when tribal, regional, or economic views they clash in groups. Fast forward to the 1951, there is this economist called Kenneth Arrow. He dropped a bombshell. Here, he listed some 5 basic rules any fair ranking system should follow for 3 or more options. So meaning 3 or more people are running for election. Rule number 1, if every voter prefers X over Y, the group must too. And rule number 2, no one voter acts like a dictator overriding all. And rule 3, it works for any honest preferences. And rule 4, logical flow. If a group prefers A over B and B over C, then A over C. Then rule 5, adding or dropping an extra option, it does not flip rankings between the originals. Arrow proves that it is impossible to meet all 5. One rule always breaks, and this is Arrow's impossibility theorem. For us in Africa, our many parties and candidates, this explains why perfect fairness slips away. When opinions line up on one scale, like progressive to conservative or city to rural, the middle choice often wins the most battles. And this median voter rule keeps things stable in countries like Botswana. Well, better still try approval voting. There is no ranking. Just mark all candidates you accept. Most marks win. No splits. So vote your heart and head. There's less attacks and more people vote. And this worked and still works in a lot of places. It worked for choosing popes centuries ago. It is used actually today to pick the UN Secretary General today. And I'm sure there's different other scenarios. But here is a big reveal. Perfect democracy is mathematically impossible in ranked systems with multiple choices. Uh, Winner takes all, which is common in Africa, it has big holes. Minority power, there is a lot of wasted votes. There is these splits, the proportional. It helps share voices, but it can slow the decisions. Yet our democracies, they shine brighter than dictatorships or chaos. Ghana hands over power smoothly. South Africa unites a lot of diverse people. Botswana stays strong. Even with issues like machine breakdowns or courts fight, we always push forward. Um, Winston Churchill nailed it. He said that democracy is the worst format of government except for all the others tried. So, this math opens your eyes but also fires you up. What if we tweak our systems? I want you to stay engaged, always vote smart, and always demand better. Thanks again for staying with me if you watched to this point. If you are anywhere in Africa and Nigeria, South Africa, Uganda, or beyond, I want you to comment and what voting, like fixing voting systems, what would it change to your country? Subscribe and keep the conversation going. I will see you in the next video. God bless you.